Within seconds, an entire family's world was turned upside down, a mistake that led to pure agony. 2 babies vanished without a trace, suspected to be with a woman whose own children had been taken away from her. However, in some sort of miracle, this became a survivor story. This is the case of the Thomas twins, kidnapped during a DoorDash delivery. You are such a genuine gem. Thank you for clicking on my video. I'm Brooke Makenna, but today's case is going to be a more recent case about the Thomas twins and their abduction. It's going to include the timeline, everything we know about the suspect so far, and I'd love to keep you updated as things come out. But as far as what I'm going to reveal today, that's just what has come out as of this moment. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we do, I want to thank Green Chef. Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic meal kit company for every lifestyle, including keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. You don't have to worry about dinner choices or prep. All of the pre-portioned ingredients are just sent straight to your door. They are said to be the #1 best meal kit for eating well, and it's so easy to choose healthy when it's delicious. It's easy, and it takes most of the work out of your dinners. Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh, which I've worked with before, and I absolutely love. And between the two of them, there is seriously something for everyone. On nights when I really shouldn't eat out anymore, Green Chef is the perfect choice for me. I especially love that you can mix and match meals from different preferences, so it doesn't all have to be that one category that you like. Say, you're keto, it doesn't always have to be keto, it can be keto and vegan. And I've cooked these meals for my family before, and they all say it's restaurant worthy and have no idea that it took around 30 minutes. Green Chef is just one of those no-brainers for me, and so if you think it would be for you as well, I have a discount code for 60% off and free shipping. Just use Brooke Makenna 60 and go to greenchef.com. There will be a link down below. Now let's get back to the video. So the Thomas family lived in Columbus, Ohio, and this was LaChez Thomas and Wilhelmina Barnett and their 5-month-old twin babies, Kason and Kyer. Now, they were a happy family, ready to spend their first Christmas together with their babies that at 5 months old hadn't fully developed their personality or began really any steps in growing up. All they knew was eating and sleeping and being cuddled, and that's all they should have known. However, it was Monday, December 19th of 2022, very recent, in Columbus, Ohio, and Wilhelmina took her 2 sons to pick up a DoorDash order. Now, this was at Donito's Pizza, which was at 920 North High Street in the Short North neighborhood. This was around 9:45 p.m., and she drove her black 4-door 2010 Honda Accord with Kason and Kyer in the back seats. Now, she walked toward the door to grab her order, and she had left the babies in the running car, and as she looked back in that split second, she realized that her car and her babies were gone. Wilhelmina decided to call 911 almost immediately, and she was saying, "Someone just stole my car, my babies are in there, I was just right here, and all I was doing was just grabbing this pizza. I was right here, I didn't even go inside the building." She was pleading for help. She began to break down crying, and she said that her heart was beating so fast, and she was trying to convince herself that it wasn't her car. She said they just kept asking her questions, and she just felt like they were not getting there soon enough. By 10:17 p.m., a grid pattern search had started with 50 officers. There was also a helicopter in the air, and around 4 hours later, 1:37 a.m. on December 20th, an Amber Alert was actually issued by the Ohio State Highway Patrol. It was then that the police would call this officially a kidnapping, and the missing Honda Accord was described as well as having a missing front bumper. And on the back, there was actually a white bumper sticker that said Westside City Toys. A person of interest was also announced at this point. A 24-year-old named Nala Jackson was wanted for questioning. 3 hours after this, and 7 hours since the abduction, a baby was found in the parking lot of an international airport. This was at 4:15 a.m. when Columbus police were called about an abandoned baby. Witnesses had been going back to their car when they had noticed that there was a car seat in between 2 different cars in the economy parking lot, and there was a baby inside. In the 911 call made by this witness, you could hear the baby crying in the background, and they ended up taking the baby inside to warm them up because it was very cold outside, and waited for the police from Columbus to come down. This baby would be identified as Kyer Thomas, and he was cold but thankfully safe and medically fine. However, after canvassing the area, police could not find Kyer's twin brother, Kason, nor the person of interest, nor the Honda Accord. An old mugshot of Nala Jackson was released to the public at this time, hoping to find her. They did not find that she ever entered that airport, nor was she there for a long period of time. But by 11:15 a.m. that day, the Hooper Heights police were actually calling the Columbus police due to a possible sighting of Nala. They were saying that they had footage of this woman and that this sighting had been hours prior to when Kayer had been dropped off at the airport, and it was only 17 minutes away from Dayton at a gas station. The employees at this gas station said that Nala was asking them for money, and they had photos of her as well as the car parked outside. Back in Columbus, with Kayer back in his parents' arms, there was a press conference held at 2:15 p.m. and this is when police were pleading for the safe return of the baby and that the suspect turned herself in.
Thank you for returning Kayer. You've already shown us you can do the right thing. You can return him to any safe location, fire department, hospital, shopping center, any public place where someone will find the baby. We're begging you to please return Kason. We can even pick him up. Just call us and tell us where you are and where Kason is. No questions asked. Here's the number, 614-645-4701. Bringing him home safe is our number one priority. To the family, the Columbus Division of Police is doing everything we can to find Kason. There have been over 60 officers on this case since it first came in last night. There are officers that work third shift that did not want to go home until these babies were found. The main detective on this case is still working this case. We're following every lead and tracking down every moment from the time these babies went missing. There was a lapse of communication from an executive level. That is being addressed internally, and that is something that we're going to make sure does not occur again.
We were able to locate and identify several connections that Ms. Jackson had in the Dayton community. The people over there have been very supportive and very cooperative with our investigation, and Dayton PD and the departments around Dayton have been extremely helpful with us. So we are extremely appreciative of that, and we are continuing to look upon that collaboration and support as we continue to look for these children.
Where is Ms. Jackson from? Is she a Columbus woman or a Dayton?
She is from Columbus.
And is she a known person to the police department, here, criminal history?
She does have a criminal history through us, I believe misdemeanor offenses, but she has had several arrests through Columbus Police.
Is this child in danger?
Yes. I mean, at this, in all fairness, yes, we consider this child to be in danger. That's why we are expending the resources we are, and we are asking for the community's help. This is a cry for help. We are asking for the community to come forward and help us locate this child.
Right now, our concern is to get the baby. We want to make sure that Kason is safe. That is our number one priority. Clearly, we're concerned about everything, but we want to make sure that we bring that baby home to their family.
Can you talk about the car? I'm sorry, the car, because I think did it crash, and then is that what caused the damage? And we're just trying to, it's confusing to me anyway.
No, my understanding is that damage was there prior to.
Is there any reason to believe that Nala Jackson knew the kids were in the back seat, or she just saw a car that was running out?
We don't know, and maybe she didn't. She did give Kayer and put him in a location where we were able to find him. So we're pleading, and we're hoping that she will do the same thing for Kason.
Is it possible Kason is somewhere else and nobody's talking to him?
It's possible, which is why we're pleading for anybody to be vigilant, to make sure that you're paying attention. Even if you think it's something that's not a big deal, it could be a baby blanket, a car seat, anything that you may find, please notify us so that we can follow up on that.
Have you talked to her family? Has she reached out to them? Has she talked to any family members or friends?
Not that we're aware of. Again, we've been beating the pavement and trying to find locations where she may be. So at this point, we don't have any communication.
The police were also saying that this was a very unique case due to the license plate of the car not actually being on the Amber Alert, and this was said to be because the car had been recently purchased. The tag was actually torn and they had to track down the VIN number. This is when they also released the footage of Nala at the gas station to the public. But Chez and Wilhelmina decided they were not just going to sit around and do nothing. They were going to search Dayton for Kason themselves. And so without 30 hours of sleep, they decided to go and canvass the area. And ABC6 actually followed them around to different neighborhoods, to gas stations. They were telling everyone they could about the suspect and their missing child. And Wilhelmina was telling reporters that she wanted everyone to see her face and let them know that she had twins and she just misses her baby and misses them being together and their smiles. She said that she can tell that Kyer misses his brother. And the parents were saying that they had gone to the gas station where Nala was last seen, was caught by surveillance footage, and the employees were telling them that she was actually there for about 30 minutes in the stalls in the bathroom. And then when she came out, she was asking them for money and then left. Wilhelmina was said that one thing that she was worried about was that Kason loved to eat and that maybe he wasn't being fed, but she also believed that he could be being fed because there was formula left in the car. Their father, Lechez, said that it was indescribable, that there were no words for this. And the family had allegedly been getting prank calls about Kason with a ransom text demanding $650 for his safe return, and when investigators investigated this, they found that it was a scam. By 6:30 that night, the Columbus police had filed 2 kidnapping charges against Nala Jackson. She was officially their prime suspect. However, they still did not have her in custody. She had come about to them as a suspect at all because when they had entered that Donato's Pizza, employees were saying that there was a homeless woman that had been around the store during that day and that when Wilhelmina was entering, she had quickly exited the building. Investigators had already started checking every location that she was associated with, as well as 3 different homeless camps, but she was still missing. They could not find her, and she was presumably on the run with the other twin. At this point, all 5 neighboring states, including Michigan, Pennsylvania, Indiana, West Virginia, and Kentucky, issued a BOLO, or an all-points bulletin in this case, and the FBI offered to help and then offered $10,000 for the reward. Now, Nala Jackson's ex-boyfriend was located and interviewed by the Dispatch, a media outlet, about her state of mind at this time, and this was 23-year-old Dominic Davies, who was actually the father of Nala's 2 daughters. Dominic said that he had been done with her for a while, that they had been together, but her increasing mental health issues was making it so that they were separating. And he said that anytime they would try to get in contact, he was always having to call the police on her. He even had a protection order filed against her. He said she used to be an outgoing and loving person, and he doesn't know what switched in her, but everything changed, including how she looked. Dominic said that they had actually been trying to help find her to locate the twins as well. Kason and Kyer's grandmother, Fonda, said the whole family was in a state of shock and that they didn't want to even go to sleep or miss a call.
I just want to say to Nala, I don't know you. You don't know me. We are both mothers. If you look at him and you see anything, see a precious child that's longing for his mother. Your children long for you. He is longing for his mother. We ask you, we beg you, please, please, please do the right thing. Please do the right thing.
And the Doc Ellis Foundation, which is an organization to assist minority families with missing persons, they created a 24-hour tip line for the family as well as creating posters. And the family actually has a victim's advocate that has urged the public to be kind to Wilhelmina, saying that she's a person too and that they're going through a lot. But at this point, nobody knew that all the way in Indianapolis, a resident named Cheyenne Del Mar was buying toys from a woman named May in a gas station parking lot. And she then agreed to give her a ride to Family Dollar. And then she started taking a video of her because May was acting very erratic in the car. And then Cheyenne realized afterwards, after dropping her off, that this was the woman who was wanted for kidnapping. Thankfully, though, they had exchanged phone numbers.
It's a lot of y'all out here basically trying to point the fingers, and we are really just some mothers that were, determined to find a baby and find a woman.
It started as me going to the gas station. At the time, no, I did not know that that was the lady that took them kids. I was not paying attention to that. She was outside the gas station selling toys. I just so happened to need some toys, and I bought some toys from her. But at the time, I didn't pay attention to nothing but what she had in her bag. I did not pay attention to her.
Right, and this was the 20th.
Right, so
She stole the car and kidnapped the kids on the night of the 19th. She dropped one baby off at the airport and kept one baby with her. But at this point, she didn't have no car. She didn't have no baby. She was just outside the gas station selling toys.
when I seen her, she was, yeah, exactly. So I bought the toys from her, and she asked me for a ride, and I asked her where was she trying to go to. The first thing was she didn't know where she was trying to go. The first thing she said was to a hood, and I'm like, well, what hood? And she's like, somewhere where they got some drugs at. And I'm like, well, what drugs are you trying to get? And she said crack. So I'm like, oh, I don't know where to get that from. Like, I can drop you off, but I don't know where you can get that from. I did not discover until yesterday night that I had a damn kidnapper in my car and I took her down the street to a plaza. I did not know this.
And this is the
I didn't know this.
21st when she's figuring all this out.
But I'm figuring all this out yesterday night because I was scrolling on Facebook and I seen a mugshot of this girl with like blonde hair, and I'm like, damn. If I back up a little bit, the place that I dropped her off at, she ended up hopping out my car and she just pulled her pants down. Me, in the world that we live in today, I pulled my camera out and I started recording her. But by the time she was pulling her pants back up is like when I was pulling my camera out. So I only got a little bit of her on my video. So with the video that I had and the mugshot that I seen, I'm like, something is like, let me see. This looked like the person that I gave a ride to.
The next morning, on Wednesday, December 21st, with 36 hours since Kason had been seen, a vigil was held.
But our focus right here this morning should be praying for the return of this baby to come back to his family. Yes. That's it, that's all. You can say what the mama should have did, could have did, should have done, but right now, it's all in God's hands.
And just bring my baby home. We won't ask no questions. We don't want to touch you. We don't care nothing about you. We want Kason. He is our main purpose. He is our main focus. He is why we are even motivated to move. You don't motivate me. My grandson motivates me. Bring my grandson home.
I don't believe in hope. I believe in faith. And so for me, this baby is alive, this baby is well, and we're going to bring this baby home.
What I want to ask the community today is to please not shame this lady. I'm sure she's doing enough of that on her own. We all need to come together, stick together, band together, and to make sure this baby comes home.
Power begins with prayer. So these faces here, this energy here, is going to be the reason that child comes home.
Columbus police and the FBI spoke on the 4-hour delay that the Amber Alert notification took from the time that the twins actually vanished. They normally try to have it sent out within the hour, but the family was very angry that it took so long, and they were saying that they were doing as best as they could because they were dealing with a chaotic scene. They also revealed that they were searching Dayton for a possible suspect. They had no idea that she had already moved on to Indianapolis, because it turned out that Cheyenne Del Mar in Indianapolis had gotten a call on Wednesday from May or Nala trying to sell even more items. She called her back the next morning and arranged to meet with her, and Cheyenne and her cousin went to go pick May up. Now, they began calling the police at this time in Indianapolis as well as Columbus, trying to get someone to come and arrest her, but nobody was believing them. While they were shopping, anytime they got away from May, they continued to call and nobody was listening, and that is when police actually called them back while they were in the car with May, who was Nala, and so Cheyenne had to pretend it was her friend and saying, yeah, we're just driving down I-65 South. 64 hours since the abduction, Nala Jackson was finally apprehended. The police had found that car that Cheyenne had called them from and conducted a traffic stop, and when they did, Nala went silent in the back seat. The officer actually did not believe that it was her and said that they should just take her to a homeless shelter, and that's when they showed him the mugshot, and finally he arrested her. However, Kason was not with her, and they were not in the stolen vehicle. So Columbus police immediately headed to Indianapolis, and Cheyenne and her cousin began to realize that they wanted to help more.
So we pulled over. At this point, the police is acting super strange. Like, y'all don't know all the information I gave y'all.
Literally.
Y'all not putting one and one together to make two. Y'all getting one and one, putting one and one together and making 9. Like, what do y'all think? Come on now. So she's out, twins out the car at this point. They asking her questions, and I gave her my phone with the news article. So the news article is telling her everything
without us having to say it in front of her.
Her in the back seat. So
they still acting dumb.
Still acting dumb. Her car. They open up her door. They like, well, what's your name? She was quiet for 2 minutes. She didn't even say nothing. I swear to God, when she didn't say shit. When they asked her name, baby, she didn't say nothing. She didn't say nothing. And then they was like, well, ma'am, you know, she was like, I'm a minor. Can you call my mom at 614 something. My parents told me not to talk to the cops. I can't give you any information. I'm a minor. I don't know my name. So I'm even writing her name down. I'm like, give me a pen and a piece of paper. And I wrote Nayla Jackson down. So I'm giving them every clue that they need. And they're still me off because they're not putting 2 and 2 together. So at this point, she's acting real slow. She has a wallet. She pull out the wallet and you see the ID. The police is like, well, ma'am, I see the ID, so this could either go 2 ways. We could be here for hours or we can be here for minutes. Whatever you want to do, this is how we can do it. You know, it's up to you. You pick and choose what you want to do. So she was like, okay, what is this for? What do you need? She looked at me. She said, what are they asking for? Ma'am, they're asking for your ID. Okay, ain't that your ID right there? Because she told her she didn't have ID. We done missed the part. she was even asking her because she worked underneath her to get paid. She was trying to stay here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, she had
and work. So now they look at the ID. They pulled me out the car. Now they pulled me out the car and they're like, okay, well, we don't think that that's her in that article.
The officer that pulled me out was like, well, why do you think that it's her? So I pulled my phone up because I was still live at the time. So I'm like, let me end this live and let me show you on my phone why I think that this is her. So I show him the video that I told y'all about in the other videos that I took of her. I showed him that video. I showed him a screenshot and I showed him her mugshot. But he has told us to let her, to go drop her off at
a homeless shelter.
Yeah,
and so they decided to find cars that had not been moved in a while. And they were going to do this through the snow that had been falling down to see what cars were covered and to look inside of those. They were hoping to find the Honda and the baby inside. That's when they stopped at a local Papa John's. Meanwhile, Nala was being identified through fingerprints. Nobody knew where Kason was. She was not talking. And hearing this, the Thomas family feared the worst. And so another press conference began, and they were begging the public for information. Only 21 minutes after this, the Thomas family were finally told that their other baby had been located, 68 hours since the abduction. Now, Police Sergeant Richard L. and Sean Anderson were out searching, and Sergeant Anderson was saying a prayer that they would find him before the huge snowstorm that was brewing. And they really knew how urgent it was to be finding him. They were searching all day, but their shifts were about to end. However, that's when they got a call. They headed over to the local Papa John's where Cheyenne and her cousin had called them to come over and extract a baby from a Honda Accord.
Remember that she said the university, remember that she said Papa John's, remember all this. So now we putting 2 and 2 together like, why would she say the university? The car might be over there. So we going that way to drive home. I'm like, well, wait a minute, twin, just stop at Blaze Pizza. Thank the Lord. I kept telling her right before I said that she's on the phone with Dion.
Has a plaza with a lot of food places,
Papa John's.
Papa John's being one.
Yep. So at this point, I'm like, twin, God is with us. I'm telling twin, like, God is with us. We got faith. You feel me? God is with us. So we go to Papa John's. We turn in the Blaze Pizza parking lot. I'm like, twin. Instantly, I see the car. I'm like, Papa John's, go to Papa John's. We pull around. She can see that it's a sticker on the car. We can see that there's no plates on the car.
Yep.
So as soon as we got close enough, I hopped out the car. I run in the car.
She tried to open the back door. The back door was
not
locked.
open. So I ended up cutting my hand.
The driver door.
Open the driver door. At this point, I look in the back. I see baby legs. I don't hear a baby. All I smell is a foul smell.
And as I'm bagging out, I see it's police over at the Blaze Pizza where we was originally supposed to be at anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't run. I drove over there, honey, and I went in the Blaze Pizza and I was screaming and yelling and telling them it was a baby over here in this car that has been kidnapped.
And we think the baby is
dead. They asked me what car. They asked me where at.
As I start screaming, I hear the baby screaming. So I open up the back door. I'm like, okay, I was telling the man, open up the back door. Open the back door. My anxiety was to the roof at this point. Open the back door.
They had found the car and could see Kason inside. And they were able to pull him out with the police. Kason was still in the brown onesie that he had been taken in and was rushed to the local hospital for evaluation, and he too was determined to be alive and well.
So at this point, the baby was safe. He was found out of the car. He was sucking on his fingers. So happy that he was alive.
Because I had previously talked to the mommy and let her know that I found the girl that did it.
Yeah.
Honey, I was blowing his mother's phone up. I was so out. I got asthma. So, honey, I'm out of breath from running and screaming. And you're like,
the only thing that was wrong with the baby really was his diaper was
funky.
It needed to be changed.
Other than that,
she didn't care about the baby. She was not.
He was just so cute.
So cute. So handsome. I was so
he was looking at me
happy.
Like,
I was just like, baby K, baby K. It was a very joyous moment for us, and I was so happy to hear the mother's cries over the phone, and it was tears of joy. It was very beautiful.
Now, Papa John's broker had said that car had been there since Tuesday morning, and they were finding him Wednesday afternoon. So most likely that baby had been alone in that car that entire time.
At that moment when I held baby Kason, it felt like the relief of holding one of my own children. It was one of the best feelings and experiences that I've had in my 23 years in law enforcement. These are the moments we live for.
So the Thomas family were celebrating the return of both of their twin babies, and that they were safe and that they were going to be together for Christmas.
The power of people, the power of love, the power of kindness. This is what you get. This means everything. My grandsons get to open up their presents simultaneously, not one alone wishing that the other one was there.
Their mother had been saying that Kair was not sleeping the entire time that Kason was missing, but the morning after they had found him, Kair finally got some sleep. Now, Deputy Chief Smith Weir ended up saying that Nala had spent some time living in the sobriety house recently, and that they were looking into whether she had any mental health issues, because they did not believe she had any sort of connection to the babies nor the mother. She, at this point, was not only being charged with kidnapping, but also with felony battery by bodily waste, because when she was being booked, she had spit on an officer. But more was revealed about Nala at this time, including the fact that she had abducted children before. You see, in September of 2021, she was accused of trying to abduct her own children from the National Youth Advocacy Center. She was said to be having a supervised visit with them when she grabbed them and began walking on foot away while the employees followed her. She tried to get into a stranger's car, and the employees told that stranger, if you take her, this is a crime. And so the driver told her to get out, and then obviously she didn't have an escape route. So her children were safe, but they were at this advocacy center to begin with because Nala had pled guilty to child endangerment. Because 4 months prior to that, her 11-month-old daughter had fallen down the apartment stairs, and it was also said there was another report of one of her 6-month-old breaking their leg. And so she was sentenced to 13 days and 2 years probation, and when she was released, she tried to abduct her children. And she was then given a psychological evaluation where she was found at this point incompetent to stand trial. She was still on probation when she kidnapped the Thomas twins. It was found that the 2 months prior to the Thomas twins' abduction, she had been trying to contact her daughters who were living with her ex, Dominic. He had full custody, and this was said to be due to her drug use, mental illness, and the charges of child endangerment. But she would show up uninvited, banging on the door, and he was often saying she had a baggie with her that appeared to be drugs. And one time she was actually caught there, and the police found her with that baggie and described it as small white milky rock type substances thought to be crack and cocaine. She has been in jail at least 10 times in the last 2 years, allegedly, and some of these were just for not showing up to court, but some of them were also for stolen property charges and a felony theft case. And a month prior to the Thomas twins' abduction, she was wanted for harassment and aggravated menacing charges due to a woman filing a report saying that she was threatening to kill her family. They even had a voicemail to prove this. And so Nala had been released on her own recognizance on November 30th, 2022, 3 weeks before the abduction. But only 4 days prior to the abduction, Nala had shown up at her ex's again, demanding to see the girls. Dominic was actually saying that they were at his mother's house, which they were, but she ended up punching him in the face several times. And so the police finally talked to this Dominic, and Dominic was saying that Nala had lost custody of her youngest son she had just given birth to almost immediately after birth. And the family that he went to was allegedly the same family that Nala was threatening. They were, I believe, to be some sort of foster family, and she had left a voicemail saying, "If you think you were going to steal my son and take him anywhere, I'm going to kill you, and I mean that." They had received a temporary restraining order from her. But her ex Dominic had a motive for what he believed was the reason that she kidnapped the Thomas twins. And he said, I think in her mind, the kidnapped babies resembled her son in some delusional fantasy or something. It's like a bad horror movie. But only 3 days before the Thomas abduction, a warrant was out for her arrest because she didn't show up to court. Her record has shown that she is a flight risk. And she has since had her first hearing on all of this on December 24th. Nala was taken to court in Indianapolis for the battery charge against a police officer, not for the kidnapping, which will be, of course, dealt with in Ohio, and she will be extradited for that. But this hearing happened over a video monitor, and she was asked if her name was Nala Jackson by the magistrate. She responded, "Are you talking to me like a person or a slave?" The magistrate said, "I'm speaking to you as a person." And so Nala then said that her name was Josephus Hunt, and it's not said that she has any sort of other name. Nala Jackson was said to be her legal name, but she was asked if she understands her rights, and she said no. Yes, no. I'm pleading guilty, just go ahead and sentence me. Now, her bond was set for $500, but she was told at this point that she was not going to be released due to the 2 kidnapping charges and being extradited back to Ohio. But when Nala heard this, she began yelling cuss words, and the hearing had to end. But the Thomas family spent their holidays with Kason in the hospital. He was not yet released at that point. In fact, they had said he had a bad diaper rash. He was extremely hungry. He was exhausted. He was said not to even be smiling at this point. He just really needed some healing, and he was set to be discharged on Monday, December 26th. Wilhelmina has said she's just happy to have her babies back, and she was saying that she knows it was wrong to be door dashing with her kids in the car, but it was her only source of income, and that she would normally only accept different orders from drive-thrus, but the Donato's order was quite big and paid more. But the investigation continues into who might have helped Nala Jackson while she was on the run, if anybody else was involved. But why do you think that Kayer was dropped off that day and Kason wasn't? Was Kayer maybe a noisy baby, a harder to manage baby, and that's why she dropped him off and not Kason as well? Why would she take the other one and then end up abandoning him in the same way and not even dropping him off anywhere like a hospital? Do you think that this has more to do with mental illness, drug addiction, or a selfish desire to take a child away, take 2 children away from a mother if she wasn't allowed to be with hers? That's, I think, what we're going to learn more, especially if it comes to a trial, and I'm not sure if she's going to be found competent to stand trial or not. That is just something that we're going to have to wait and see what occurs in all of this, but I would love to bring you more information, more updates as they come. That is all we know thus far when I am filming this on this case. So please send so much love to the Thomas family and for the healing of those sweet baby boys, because I'm very hopeful that at only 5 months they won't remember much in their life, but there is still a chance that even if they don't remember, their bodies will remember, and it will be something that they will deal with internally and will need to heal from. And I hope that they really do get that healing, that love and support, and that they live wonderful lives, because they did survive. And for that little tiny boy to be alone for who knows how long, both of them, when they were left behind, it's incredible that they're here and that they're back with their families today. So leave some beautiful comments down below. And don't forget to speak up. Your voice is powerful enough, and I love you to absolute pieces. Okay, bye.